Hey there and welcome back to Rimworld. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our Rimworld Anomaly Sea Ice Challenge with the transhumanist paragons of Pandroth. Last time we left off, after waiting out 91 manhunting polar bears together with a band of totally unnecessary mercenaries, we also continued Elpis' psycasting journey, making him a level 3 psycaster, explored the pit gate a bit further, and captured another Nociosphere that we of course want to study regularly now to unlock its use as a weapon against our enemies as soon as possible. To get us started today, it doesn't take long until we are presented with our first quest of the episode, taking on an Imperial prisoner with blood rot. Not really much of a difficult task, I'd say. 16 days is also not too long, and since they are a prisoner, we can be a bit rougher with them, so we're going to accept this, I think, but not right away. For now, we've got a bit of a mood problem, particularly for our females. A psychic drone is still stirring, and without Elpis, we have also neglected our psychic rituals a bit, so let's have one right now, a pleasure pulse ritual, to make our people a little happier. Now, the thing about this is that the mood bonus is fixed, ritual quality only affects its duration. And because the trade-off for the mood bonus is a reduced work speed, we don't want that duration to be too long, which is why Ellie will follow in her brother's footsteps and perform the ritual all by herself to make it last for about a week. Just in that moment, we've got Thrumbos wandering in, again, this time though in our small meditation refuge, where Light is currently death resting. Perhaps a good chance for Elpis to put his newfound abilities to the test, but let's take things one step at a time. Or let's not, as Ellie's ritual is interrupted by the appearance of a Warped Obelisk. This is the second kind of obelisk we've encountered so far, and just like its twisted cousin, initially we have no idea what it does. Apart from that, its mechanics are the same. It can be studied, it can and probably should be suppressed, and everything else will reveal itself to us in due time. Of note, however, is the fact that this is now advanced entity number 12 we have discovered so far, which means that we have now, somewhat unexpectedly, unlocked the ability to fully awaken the Void Monolith. But doing so is proper endgame stuff. We already receive a warning here that awakening it will shroud the map in darkness and spawn waves of horrifying entities, so perhaps we at least wait until Elpis returns to proceed further with this. Ellie's ritual then still can't finish. This time there's two interruptions. First, crafting slave Shireen goes into a daze because of the psychic drone, and then we've also got the royal tribute collector pass by near Elpis and Light, who of course don't have anything to give at the moment. Eventually then, Ellie concludes the pleasure pulse, which for the next week or so reduces our pawn's work speed to 80%, but increases their chance of making love and adds a plus 12 mood bonus. Alongside the removal of the mood penalty for not having any rituals lately, that's a plus 15 mood swing. Not too bad, I'd say. And with all of that taken care of, let us now accept the prisoner. We'll do so for the Glitter World medicine here. That strikes me as the most useful of the three rewards. The captive himself then, a nervous, bloodlusting 15-year-old of the Hussar xenotype, a favorite among Imperial soldiers and definitely something we want to nick a few genes from. It's a very specialized gene line focused purely on combat, but perhaps we can splice one or two things off of it to enhance our own personnel. Over in our psycasting outpost, meanwhile, the tribute collectors have already left because of temperatures, as one of the Thrumbos self-tames. Seems like Elpis' powers have grown so much, he doesn't even need to fight the animals anymore. A few hours later then, he also receives a visitor. His sister Ellie stops by. Perhaps it's only a coincidence that she picked a time where Light is death resting. In any case, she won't stay long. We're just using her to build a launcher and transport pod to send a few things back home. Most importantly, the non-violent gene pack here, which desperately needs to go into a gene bank. Still, we should have enough time to slaughter that self-tamed Thrumbo first, and to get its horn and fur onto the pod as well. And eventually, everything arrives right in front of our gene lab, and the gene pack is stored away safely just in time. With his blood rot treatment received, our Hussar prisoner is then also plugged into the gene extractor right away, perhaps we can manage 2 rounds of this before the Empire picks him back up. With some of the components that Elpis and Light acquired in their spare time, we can now advance our second hydroponics farm further. The basins here will be used to grow medicine and, yes, also psychoid plants. I think we might want to dabble with drug production soon. After all, in some ways it is another way of improving the human condition. Then we've got a pack of Arctic wolves wandering in, but that's not really a challenge for our pawns at this point, so we quickly turn them into fur and meat. Naseem also makes progress on the Nochiosphere, not quite enough yet to use it as a weapon, but it won't be long now. And shortly afterwards we receive a rather curious visitor. A blind healer approaches us, the same way that Nightshade and the unfortunately already demised Ben approached us earlier, and while this fella may not actually possess any medical skill, and being blind that's probably for the best, he does have a unique unnatural healing ability, not unlike the Sanguophage's Coagulate, but even more powerful, as the description here also mentions that it can restore blood loss and even be used to heal significant injuries. For a transhumanist colony, I'd say an ability like this fits right in, so after extracting a combination gene pack including the hyper-aggressive, great shooting and red eyes genes, we have Ellie welcome the mysterious stranger. And no surprise here, he wants to join, but seemingly has a dark secret. Still, we'll take him in. The ability is just too good to pass up, I think. That also means that we have to give out a name from the list of patron supporters in the naming rights tier and above. We'll go with Kojiro this time around, after patron the Kojiro. So, welcome to the colony. I hope your secret makes it worth having you. For those of you already familiar with the game, yes, the Void Fascination trait is related to that secret, but I won't spoil it here. We'll get to see what it is soon enough, I think. For now, after getting Kojiro into some new and warmer clothing, he can use his ability on Nightshade. That is, if he wasn't interrupted by the Twisted Obelisk giving Naseem a new fleshy tentacle arm. This one's a flesh whip, a powerful melee weapon in fact, but also not exactly an attractive addition to Naseem's body, not to mention that it has just removed the elbow blade we installed on him a while back. Still, in some ways, this could be considered an upgrade. It definitely merges the void and transhumanist sides of our colony quite well, but yes, as long as the Twisted Obelisk remains here, this will occasionally happen with randomly chosen body part mutations. So let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see continue, or whether you feel like we better destroy the thing to remain in control of exactly how our colonists are improved. In any case, Kojiro can now use his unnatural healing on Nightshade, who's got 2 scars on her torso and lost her right big toe, and the latter is now miraculously being restored, but not without side effects. Similar to Naseem earlier, Nightshade now sprouts a tentacle from her shoulder, this one improving her manipulation, but again not exactly making her any prettier. Still, since she's mostly working as a doctor by now, this could actually be considered beneficial for her work, so we'll leave it attached. And this is how this ability works. It won't always cause a mutation like this, but the chance is there. Ability cooldown is also rather manageable, I think. In only 6 days we can use this again, perhaps to remove the rest of Nightshade's scars. Now, skill-wise, Kojiro will mostly be doing artwork, a first for our colony. Right now he starts with a skill level 0, but he's got double passions, so it should rise quickly. In theory, we could even make him a production specialist, a role that usually extends to construction and crafting, but also boosts the quality level of artwork. But to be able to receive it, we would need to boost his construction skill up to level 6, which shouldn't be too difficult. Now for Elpis, meanwhile, it's time to go Thrumbo hunting, but first we receive a quest that is actually meant for our small outpost here. We need to protect a crashed Imperial shuttle against hostile tribespeople, and could obtain some pretty destructive rewards in exchange for our help. I would say we come back to this once Light has awoken from his death rest. For now, the hunt begins, and it is mostly a skirmish, utilizing Elpis's vertical pulse Psycast to distract the Thrumbo, and Elpis has more than enough Psyfocus to keep this going for several minutes. The fighting is then interrupted by the arrival of an exotic goods trader who Ellie quickly strikes a lucrative deal with, selling insect jelly from the pit gate, buying lots of Nutra-Ammin to kickstart our drug and medicine production, another death rest capacity serum for our sanguiphages, then the quick study gene pack for increased skill gain, and we're also selling one of our signal chips as well as the Thrumbo horns to finance the entire thing. Shortly after then, with Lauren making a legendary quality button-down shirt, the Thrumbo cannot withstand Elpis's onslaught any longer, and so he can now haul it back into the frozen safety of the small shelter. Back home, Shireen comes out of her mental break, and that means we now have the full colony available for a conversion ritual to hopefully nudge Kojiro a little closer to the ways of the Paragons of Pandroth. Despite his high expectations and the not exactly stellar room impressiveness, our chances of at least getting an effective ritual are about 70%, good enough for now. Nonetheless, we are surprised by a masterful outcome. Randy smiles upon us, and Kojiro is instantly converted. That's one problem less to worry about. Wonderful, and it gets even better, as shortly after Light wakes up from his death rest, Randy sends a pair of yaks to join our two Psycasters. Now, whether or not we'll actually bother with having one of them run over there to bring them back for slaughtering, that remains to be seen. For now at least, we'll have both of them continue meditating until we almost run out of time on the crashed shuttle quest. The goal here is to get Light's Psyfocus as high as possible, and then we accept the quest for the two anti-grain warheads, simply because there's two of them compared to the one-use orbital targeter. The shuttle and its inhabitants then land not too far away from our small shelter. There's 3 civilians here that need to survive. The 3 soldiers, meanwhile, are expendable. Elpis and Light soon join the group and wait for the Thrumbos to arrive, who then appear shortly after and in full force with 58 people, all of them using ranged weapons. But they are probably not expecting a super powerful Psycaster to greet them, so we'll have Light quickly skip himself over to the approaching horde and cast a Berserk Pulse to get them going. And, well, how about a second one too, just for good measure? Now, I don't think that this is going to take care of all of them, but it should thin out their numbers nicely. We've also got a group of visitors pass by who may or may not end up getting caught up in all of this, and, well, if they do, I don't think they're going to stand much of a chance. The Berserk Pulses have worn off meanwhile, and the first Thrumbos are coming for the shuttle, so we're now switching to Elpis's vertical pulses to prevent them from doing too much damage, but as you can see, there is still quite a lot of them. So another Berserk Pulse it is, but now Light has run out of Psyfocus to cast any more, so the rest is in Elpis's hands, and of course those of our crashed allies. Light is also catching some strays here. Thankfully he is deathless as a sanguiphage, but it is probably still better to retreat a little. The fighting then begins, again supported by Elpis's vertical pulses, and much to my relief, the Thrumbos quickly decide that they have enough and flee. That leaves us and the shuttle's crew with minimal injuries. Nonetheless, after realizing that our visitors have nothing worth trading for, Elpis can use his coagulate to patch up his mentor, who should make a quick recovery. Eventually then the rescue shuttle arrives, everyone gets on board and we complete the quest, resulting in 2 anti-grain warheads being dumped on our front door. We'll get those inside quickly, while back on the sea ice we expand our base once more. In the darkness of an eclipse, we are constructing a new room here that will eventually be used as a meditation and death resting chamber for our sanguiphages, as the death resting caskets currently prevent an expansion of our bedroom, which has resulted in Kojiro having to sleep elsewhere for the moment. While construction makes rapid progress, more trouble is brewing for our Psycasters. a defoliator ship has landed, protected by several scythers. Now, it is pretty far away from our outpost, but of course, a defoliator killing all plant life, that is not exactly what you want to see when you spend 14 hours a day meditating at the anima tree. Still, for the moment, we will leave it be. Perhaps an opportunity presents itself that makes taking it out a little easier, otherwise we'll surely be able to engineer something. Our new room is then almost finished as Naseem makes progress studying the Warped Obelisk. We still don't know exactly what it does, but we are at least once again warned that it's probably a good idea to suppress its activity for the time being. So let's keep doing that while we expand our bedroom setup once more. Despite being our production specialist, Lauren only manages excellent quality beds this time around, but those are still good enough to provide pawns with the highest possible comfort mood bonus, even without any end tables attached. In the meantime, the anima tree is also ready for the next round of linking, so let us advance Elpis to Psycasting rank 4. A brief look at our hydroponics farm then also reveals that we are probably producing a little too much rice at the moment, so we're going to switch a few more basins over to medicine, cotton or psychoid plants. Just in that moment, we also finally unlock the option to send out the Nociosphere against our enemies. You probably remember the few episodes a while back where we already had one and how much of a help it was, and I fully expect this one to be equally useful. Elpis then gains his 4th Psy rank. For Psycasts, we can choose between Skip, Wall Race and Smoke Pop, and well, this is an easy choice. Skip it is, one of the most useful Psycasts in the entire game in my opinion. Our small bedroom overhaul is also complete now, and we successfully unlock the Brainwipe ritual, the last ritual that was still missing from the list. At this point, let's pour all advanced study into the Dead Life Dust project. I have already disabled studying on our basic entities, just because they don't really yield that much study progress, and with the number of captured entities steadily increasing, we need to use our researchers' time efficiently. A brief jump back down into the pit gate then reveals a hidden steel vein that I initially overlooked, so thanks to Mulch Butler we've got even more materials coming in from down there, while our attention is quickly grabbed by a pack of man-hunting wargs attacking our Psycasters. Or, well, considering from where they entered the map, perhaps we can get them to focus their attention on the Scythers instead, if we only wake those up. So, using his newfound skip ability, Elpis arrives just in time to fire a quick volley, and the rest should take care of itself. Right, short while later, this fight was a bit more lopsided than I had hoped for. Not a single mech went down, and all wargs are dead, but they caused a few injuries that we might be able to build upon. Back home, Ellie and Volek are then the first ones to make use of the new room, Ellie to meditate and Volek to begin another death rest. Nightshade also receives a surgery inspiration that we'll make use of soon, but first let's complete our second hydroponics farm. These last few basins here will be used for cotton. The surgery inspiration will then be used on Kojiro here, who has already advanced his art skill to level 4, but who also has a scar on his leg that we can easily remove with a bionic replacement. His blindness, meanwhile, is another topic. What do you think? Should we cure it, or should we embrace his mystery as a blind healer? Now, on the next morning, strange things happen to Naseem. While studying the Warped Obelisk, he suddenly begins to disappear. And this is exactly what the Warped Obelisk does. It abducts your colonists. And it transports them to this place right here, the Labyrinth. Apart from the small room that Naseem lands in, we have absolutely no idea whatsoever what the rest of the place looks like. Only one thing is for sure, he needs to find an exit, and soon. Walls and doors are indestructible, by the way, and most of the doors are jammed, so we'll spend a good amount of time here just forcing them open to find a way forward. And, well, with Naseem trapped in this strange place, I'd say we've reached a good cliffhanger to end today's episode on. Next time we'll try to get him out. Until then, we've got some fan art. First, a lovely depiction of the Ghoul Police by Che, who is also a Patreon supporter, so thank you both for a motif that I've been eagerly waiting for someone to draw, and of course for your generous support as well. Also, we've got more Elpis fan art by Artie Meander, this one featuring our young psycasting prodigy and his dead doppelganger, a situation that we thankfully diffused before it got serious. If you want to submit some fan art of your own, then my inbox is always open. Feel free to send an email to pete@petecomplete.com. And with that, let's make the cut for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course also go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.